The last time we saw the WNBA in meaningful action, the New York Liberty won the franchise's first ever WNBA title in a Game 5 controversial thriller over Minnesota. Jonquel Jones won Finals MVP, and now, with the 2025 season days away, it's time to unpack some of the hottest storylines. And for just that, we bring in CBS Sports WNBA analysts Tykera and Ayala for our 2025 WNBA preview. And y'all, we can't start anywhere else but the Liberty's bid to repeat. Their big three remains the same with Stewie, Jonquel, Sabrina, and they added key pieces like Natasha Cloud, Maureen Johannes. Erica, when you look at this Liberty team, what will be crucial for them to repeat?
I think it's a matter of just having some of the players that are returning to the lineup. You mentioned Maureen Johannes, also having Natasha Cloud fit in seamlessly. Now, the New York Liberty had a little bit of trouble with chemistry in the 2023 season, and they prioritized getting their starting 5 unit together. Now this is a starting 5, including who we are expecting to slot in Leonie Fibish, who's played together. They know the drill for the most part. But I think for the New York Liberty, they also have some reserve players who they're expecting to get more significant minutes, like a Kennedy Burke, Johannes coming back. I think Niara Sabally showed us what she can do. And so if they can get everything humming, really work out the kinks early in the season, I do think they have a good chance to repeat.
Ty, what about you? Do you feel the same way, or do you have a different perspective?
No, I definitely have the same perspective. I think one key piece that they're going to be missing this season is Benijah Laney-Hamilton, that two-way player who was very significant for them down the stretch in the finals last season. And so I think without her, that makes things a little questionable and can be tricky. However, I do think they have the best odds of going back-to-back and winning another title this year with the addition of, like you said, Natasha Cloud, because she's also a two-way player who has championship experience when she won one with the Washington Mystics a few years ago. So I think it's going to be a great season for them coming into this one. It should be exciting for the New York Liberty, especially just having all of their main pieces primarily returning.
Yeah, everybody chasing the New York Liberty, including the Lynx, who felt the WNBA title was stolen from them because of that controversial foul on Alana Smith. They are on a revenge tour, and last year's MVP runner-up, Napheesa Collier, she seems determined to lead them back there and to finally get that title. So, Ty, when you think about their roster, right, largely the same, what do you think will be the key for them to get over the hump in this season?
Well, they've had a little bit of turnover that a lot of people aren't talking about, like Kayla McBride. She's not with the team right now for personal reasons. Like, that's significant when you think about their three-point shooting. And then also Dorka Juhas, she decided that she's not going to play this season and take a rest. But in order for them to get over the hump, I think they're going to have to continue to figure out ways to be dynamic when it comes to getting in the paint and scoring. They don't have a key piece on the inside like those other teams. When you look at a Las Vegas Aces with Asia Wilson, the best player in the league, I would say hands down. And you think about some of those other forces when it comes to interior presence, that's something that they lack. And so I think they just need a little bit more of that balance when it comes to the scoring from inside and out to really get over the hump. But I think they do have the mentality. They have Cheryl Reeves, who's a dog and very experienced when it comes to winning championships. And so for the Minnesota Lynx, I think it's more so going to be how can we continue to get this offense to run smoothly.
I would agree on a lot of fronts. I think that it's really amazing to see what the Minnesota Lynx was able to do, as Ty mentioned, without a true 5. I mean, we know that basketball has been positionless for a while, and I don't think a lot of people think about maybe the 5 being that positionless, where everyone's kind of taking up the mantle, and that's where Alana Smith came in big for the Minnesota Lynx. I think if you look at the WNBA finals, but also the matchups in the regular season against the New York Liberty, that's someone that I will be looking to. And you mentioned Napheesa Collier had a fantastic season last year, really put the women's basketball community on notice. If y'all didn't know, during Unrivaled, and had just a fantastic performance there. For me, she's definitely someone that we're watching for MVP alongside an Asia Wilson. But I think also you have to look at, are they going to get some players either healthy and or really leveling up. Look at maybe a Diamond Miller. You look at, also a Jess Shepard. Are these pieces that they're going to be able to rely on and have a little bit more depth to be able to get where they want to be again this season?
Yeah, I think that is very important, but yeah, something to know. Kayla McBride, we'll see how her situation unfolds, but if they don't have her, that definitely changes things when it comes to their chances to get back to the WNBA Finals and win. Now for the Fever, Caitlin Clark's aiming to build off a historic rookie campaign that saw her earn first-team All-WNBA honors. The big three of her, Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell, were really good last year, but this offseason, they added 3 championship veterans. Erica, what are your expectations for the Fever and Clark this season?
Well, if you look at what Clark has been handed, the table has been set. This was an Indiana Fever team that really had to scrap their way into the playoffs. They made some changes. They have Stephanie White now back with the team, who is a head coach that I do think will be in the Coach of the Year conversation. You mentioned the veterans that they're bringing in, but to the point about Caitlin Clark, we saw that when she was able to build her chemistry with Kelsey Mitchell, that was the best backcourt in the league on the other side of the All-Star / Olympic break. From all reports that we've seen, we know that Caitlin Clark has gotten into the gym and really refined some of her game. She knows now what it takes to be a WNBA player. So a little bit of that rookie, trial period or transition period maybe is a better way of saying it, that's gone. And she has veterans who can help with anything else that may come up. This is an Indiana team that I do expect to be competitive.
Well, Erica and Chris, I think another thing that a lot of people might not be highlighting at this moment is she finally got some rest. Think about last year when she came into the league. It was fresh out of college. She had, probably like 17 days or so to prepare, and then it's jumping into the season. And so she prioritized resting, getting in the gym. Caitlin, she looks stronger. She looks better. And I think, it was a smart decision for her to not want to play competitively this offseason and more so just do the mechanics of her game and refine those things. Also reading reports where she didn't miss a day being at the practice facility, just getting it in. And so I think with this team bringing DeWanna Bonner in alongside Natasha Howard, Sophie Cunningham, who is a floor spacer, they're going to be really good. And I'm excited to see what's going to happen in Indiana this season.
Yeah, I expect them to at least win one postseason series after last season, what happened. This time they're not sneaking up on anybody. They want the smoke, right? Caitlin Clark said success to her is a championship. And she said it very succinctly, right? Very direct. So going to be great to watch the Fever and Caitlin Clark. Now, Angel Reese, she also turned in a historic rookie season with this guy on a rebounding rock star, y'all. And in year 2, she and Camila Cardoso are the centerpieces of the franchise, poised to take a big leap with Tyler Marsh as their new head coach. Ty, what will be the recipe for them to make it back into the postseason?
I think the recipe for them is getting Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso on the same page early, and I think they're going to be able to do that while they have Courtney Vandersloot at the point guard position. Bringing back that veteran presence to the Chicago Sky, I think, was a big all-season acquisition for them, especially with Vandersloot just winning her second WNBA title. But she has a lot of knowledge. She knows how to work within different offenses. And we saw it in the preseason games where she's setting them up where it's so effortless for her because that's what she does. And Kennedy Carter, she was great for the Chicago Sky last year, right? Where she was scoring the basketball and dishing it. But things are going to look a little different because Courtney Vandersloot is a pass-first guard. And I think that's going to set those bigs up for success in Cardoso and Angel Reese. And then you also look at what they added on the outside and Kia Nurse, who she can spray the ball pretty well too. And so I think they'll have a balance where if the big girls too, with practice and getting that chemistry under lock, they can work that inside out game to some of their sharpshooters, especially with Rebecca Allen at it as well and Ariel Atkins.
Yeah, because Cardoso and Reese, I don't think they get talked about enough in this regard. They're 2 of the best passers, right, in the league when it comes to bigs. So that is something that they definitely have to maximize. Now, Erica, we cannot forget about the Las Vegas Aces, who have the best player in the league, 3-time MVP, A'ja Wilson running the show. Vegas shuffled the deck a bit after failing to three-peat, trading Kelsey Plum for Jewel Lloyd and switching up their bench. Chelsea Gray even said they're in starvation mode when it comes to the season. So What will be pivotal for them to grab a third title?
I mean, just to use the term that we all know, you have to have the right aces in the right places. And I mean that very quite literally, because having Jewell Loyd on this team, I think it could open up a lot here. And we know bad boy Bill Laimbeer made it very clear that as long as A'ja Wilson is on this team, this is A'ja Wilson's team. So now it's about how you build around A'ja. Of course, we know Chelsea Gray had a great season, also in Unrivaled, seemingly coming in healthy. That's huge right there. That's your 1-2 punch. And so how is Jewell Loyd going to fit into that? We know that at times in Seattle, where she's coming from, maybe the roles weren't quite aligned or the responsibilities weren't exactly aligned. And I think Jewell Loyd wants to get back in her bag, into her game. And I do think that she can do that with this Las Vegas Aces team. And as we heard already, this is a hungry team here. They are going to start the season with the New York Liberty, which is already a growing rivalry, even though we didn't see those two teams in the finals last season. I do expect that the tone will be set when they get back to Barclays Center, a court that, they've celebrated on. So a little familiarity, but they got to wait and watch the New York Liberty raise the banner. And then, it's ding, ding, round one. And I'm excited to see how the Aces come out swinging.
Yeah, the intensity will be an all-time high, and it should be some great theater for the WNBA. Now, the Mavericks, they traded their franchise star Luka away, while the Wings, they drafted the future of their franchise and Yukon legend Paige Bueckers at #1. I think she really pairs up well with Arike Ogunbowale when you look at how both of them play. Kurt Miller also did a good job in acquiring Dejanay Carrington, Ty Harris, and Alyssa Smith. Ty, what do you believe success will look like for Dallas in Bueckers' rookie year?
I think success for them looks like trying to build chemistry early, because they have so many new pieces. And I think preseason was just such a small sample size of what we could potentially see out of them. I think for them, it's going to be, right, can we make the playoffs first and foremost? They're not built to be contenders quite yet. That's why they were in the running for the #1 pick. But I think it's getting that 1-2 punch down with Arike Ogunbowale and Paige Bueckers, where at times they had to, at UConn throughout her career, dynamic player, right? But they had to ask her to be a little bit more aggressive. It's not because she doesn't have it in her. It's because she's such a great player all around that there had to be a balance. And so for them, it's going to have to be making it into the playoffs and figuring out everybody's role, because I think they have quite a few scores and not enough basketballs to go around, right? And so how do they continue to mesh into that seamlessly as one group and kind of pick their poison when it comes to filling in the gaps?
Yeah, it'll be fun to see how they work together and what the end result is for Paige Bueckers in year one with the Dallas Wings. Ty Carter, Eric Ayala, always appreciate talking to y'all. And again, Paige Bueckers, we said Yukon legend for a reason. I mean, she is third on the list for UConn's all-time scoring list, just behind Brianna Stewart and Maya Moore. And remember, she had all these injuries. So when you think about what she was able to put up, very, very impressive career at UConn. Coming up, we tapped in some of the best W storylines this year, but now it is time for some predictions before the season kicks off. Who wins MVP and the title? Our experts give their answers after the break. To help answer that question, we welcome in Ty Carter and Eric Ayala for our WNBA season predictions. And currently, Caitlin Clark is the favorite to win it, with A'ja and Nafisa Collier behind her. So Ty, I'll start with you. Who wins the MVP this year?
I got A'ja Wilson, y'all. It's hard to bet against her. I'm so sorry. Like, A'ja Wilson, she's just that good and dynamic. You see how the NBA, they keep giving the MVP to Nikola Jokic, and it's Jokic world, whatever the case is. I could see it being a run for a few years and coming for A'ja Wilson, already with 3 MVPs under her belt, and she continues to get better inside out game. And so I'm going with A'ja here. I can't really choose against the grain with this one.
I mean, I think that is a great pick. I respect it. I also love that Asia Wilson hopefully forever debunked that we are only going best player, best team, because there's so many players that get overlooked that have fantastic seasons when that's the only way we categorize most valuable player. And although I get Asia Wilson, I do. I'm just saying I'm liking what I saw from Collier, including in the finals through Unrivaled, and assuming that she's able to stay healthy, I think Napheesa Collier is going to be one of these players that we really see. We're going to start putting some respect on her name, and she'll be in the MVP conversation. She's going to have to go up against Asia Wilson. I think it's going to be tough, but I'm looking forward to seeing Fee take some hardware home.
Yeah, Napheesa, she is on a mission, not just to get that WNBA title, but to show the world why she should get an MVP. And as you said, Erica, the way she played Unrivaled in the finals, she was sensational. So cannot wait to see who wins the MVP in the WNBA. Now, last year in the Rookie of the Year race, that was between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, with Clark taking it, of course. This year, the favorite is Paige Bueckers, of course. Also, you could have Dominique Malunga for Seattle, Sonia Citron for the Mystics. Who's going to win that award, Erica?
I am going to go with who everyone is expecting in Paige Bueckers. I think she's going to be given the best opportunity coming out of the gate. I think that for all of the reasons that a lot of us have already discussed with this Dallas team, she's going to have an opportunity to really set up some fantastic players here. Now, it's going to be interesting, though, because historically it has been difficult to win MVP in a guard position in the WNBA, or excuse me, for Rookie of the Year, I'm thinking, now I'm like, Collier, like, right, she's gonna get MVP one day. I'm like, we skipping like 3-4 years. Yeah. No, but for Rookie of the Year, apologies there. Yes, Paige Bueckers should take this. I think Malunga is an interesting case in Seattle. I do wonder if they'll be a little bit reserved, perhaps, with her starting time early on. But the fact that she is committed to Seattle, I think that makes a case for her as well. But for Rookie of the Year, I'm back, y'all. I'm back. I'm going with Paige Bueckers.
Well, I have to say the same as Erica here. I'm going with Paige Bueckers. I think that is the obvious choice for a lot of different reasons. She showed in preseason, right, already that she's going to start for the Dallas Wings. She has the best odds. She's shooting the 3-ball very well early on. From what we've seen, it seems as though that her range is going to translate over to the WNBA, which is going to be huge. And then I also think, just based off of the fact that she is aggressive early and she's getting the ball within the offense, and she can also create for herself, that puts her in a good position to become the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I like to call her Miss Efficient, right? Because there's no wasted movement when it comes to how she plays. And I also think she's going to be the one who's hoisting that Rookie of the Year award when the season ends. Now, we know about the teams who generate the headlines, but how about a team who could surprise people the most? For me, I'm looking at the Seattle Storm. They might end up having the scariest front court in the league. But who is your team, Ty?
I'm going with the Atlanta Dream. I don't know if that's a surprise to a lot of people, but I would say this. New coach, they're shooting a lot of threes. Brittany Griner, Bree Jones. I'm talking about experience here. And their coach, he comes from Florida Gulf Coast, right? And at the time when he was coaching Florida Gulf Coast, they shot the most threes in the country. And so the dynamic of what they do within their offense is going to change. That's going to be great for Ryan Howard. They finished 8th in the standings last season. I could see them finishing 6 or 5, depending on the way that they're able to mesh quickly. And so I like the Atlanta Dream and the roster that they've been able to curate thus far, especially with 2 All-Stars that are returning in Alicia Gray, Ryan Howard.
Yeah, they have a lot of exciting talent when you look at it, and the fact that you mentioned, new head coach, new scheme, going to be really interesting how their season plays out. Now, some years in sports, the season goes pretty much like we expected, but there are other years where the script is completely unpredictable. So, Eric, I'll start with you. What is your bold prediction that might have people looking at you like, are you sure about that?
Really know if anyone's gonna come at me for this one, but I do think, again, with a league that can be a little top heavy when it comes sometimes to different awards and accolades, I think that we kind of missed out a little bit on Aaliyah Edwards last year. So I'm saying Aaliyah Edwards MVP, or excuse me, for All-Star. That's what I want to see. I want to see her be an All-Star this year. I really think that again, we saw the versatility that she has in the offseason, playing with Unrivaled. She talked about coming in with confidence because there were veterans in that league hyping her up. So settling into her game, another year here. I don't expect that we are going to really see Washington be able to make the moves even that they were expecting to. They've had some injury, even Edwards herself. You know, we're hoping that she can come back healthy. But if she does, Aaliyah Edwards will be an all-star.
Well, my bold prediction, I have the Golden State Valkyries finishing at or above 500. That is very bold to say as an expansion team. But the last expansion team to do that was the Detroit Shock. We haven't had an expansion team in the W since the Atlanta Dream, which was in 2008. They didn't look bad in preseason, y'all. Like there's a lot of things obviously to work out, but I loved how hungry and aggressive they were to be a new team starting. The atmosphere in Golden State is amazing. They already have sold out on their tickets for the season. And then the preseason game, I think they had 17,000 people on a night where the Golden State Warriors were also playing in the playoffs. So I think there's a lot of good things to be brewing for the Golden State Valkyries starting this season and years to come. Now, I ain't saying they're going out to win a championship or nothing like that, but I think they're going to finish better than people expect.
Yeah, those are really
I
great.
agree.
Yeah, those are really great, bold takes. For me, it's Dominique Malunga. She's going to get her first dunk June 17th against the Sparks on Rickea Jackson, because we know Rickea, is worried about, Dominique dunking on her. So I think that'll be the first dunk, and Rickea will be Dominique's first victim. Now, when it comes to the thing that everybody wants at the end of the year, the WNBA Championship Trophy, Ty, who is your pick to win it?
I'm going with the Liberty going back-to-back. I'm not going to do too much explaining on that. We talked about it at the top of the show with the segment. Enough said. Their roster is built to win again. They have the same coach, Sandy Brondello. I think they might have got a little bit better with Natasha Cloud. And I say that in a sense where Sabrina can really just focus on playing off the ball and know that Tasha is going to get it to her where she needs it. And it seems as though the energy is still there, and it's a fresh new season. But this group, I think they're still locked in from a year ago.
Well, Ty and I are locked in because that's what I got as well. Now, when y'all see on the CBS.com that I did not pick them to finish one, I do think that there's a little caveat here. If they do have some time away, or if Leonie Fibish and MJ Marine Johannes, who we've already talked about, if they're away, I do think that they will jostle for that first spot overall, but they're getting to the playoffs. They're going to play well on the back end of the season, and I do think they go back-to-back.
All right, so the Liberty going back-to-back, according to Erica and Ty, going to be a fantastic, sensational season in the WNBA. We always appreciate y'all. And here are the odds to win the title. The Liberty are the favorites at +210. Then you have the Aces, +360. The Lynx behind the Aces. Then the Fever, Mercury Storm, Dream, and the Sparks.